Okay guys, so like I said, I told you I'd post you a video with the solution to this problem, showing you how to work it out. And I'm gonna also post a correction to the homework, showing the workout because I made a typo. I said 45% matrix, right? It was supposed to be 40%. So here we go. So basically what the question is asking you, and like I was trying to say in class, what I always try to do is draw a map, or some kind of picture or diagram that helps me basically solve the problem. Okay, so what it's telling you is if I have 200 grams of fiber here, I've got some fiber, and the problem tells you you have 200 grams. Okay, basically you're going to mix this with a matrix. Okay, and the matrix, it has two parts to it. Both of these parts together is a matrix. Okay, but there's two parts to the matrix. There's a hardener and a resin. So I have hardener here and resin here. Okay, and so then they also tell you that they give you the ratio. They give you two different ratios, and this is where it gets confusing because there's two different things going on. They tell you that the ratio of the fiber with the matrix is 60% fiber to 40% matrix. Okay, but then they also tell you that when you mix the matrix, that the ratio is going to be 25 parts of hardener to 100 parts of resin. Okay, so there's really two different ratios going on here. Now what they want to know and what they've asked you is how much hardener do you need? Okay, so this is what you're solving for. But if you take a look at this problem and you kind of conceptualize what's going on before you could even figure out, because in order for you to figure out how much hardener you need, right, you need to first figure out how much matrix you need. Okay, you have to know how much matrix you need. And the amount of matrix you need is dependent on how much fiber you start with. And they give that number to, that's 200 grams. And so basically the steps to solving this problem, okay, is, let me go back here. Step one is figure out how much matrix you need based on the amount of fiber. So step one is figure out the amount of matrix you need. And once you figure out how much matrix you need, the rest of it's easy. Then you have to figure out the hardener. Okay, so let's go through this. Okay, so first thing we need to do, like I said before, is find out how much matrix we need. Now they tell you that, oops, switch tools here. Stand by. Turn it, there we go. Okay, so now they tell you that the ratio is 40, dang it, stand by. Here we go. So they tell you that the ratio is basically 40 parts of matrix to 60 parts, and I say parts, but I mean percent here, fiber. Okay, 40 to 60. Okay, so now I could reduce this, right? Because 40 to 60 is the same thing as saying 2 to 3. So what that means is 2 parts matrix to 3 parts fiber. Okay, so now that I know that ratio, it's 2 to 3. This is where we were solving for proportionalities. Okay, so now that I know it's 2 to 3, I just set up a simple equation. And so I know that I need 2 parts matrix, right? And that's what I'm solving for. So on the top here, I want to know how much matrix I need. So that's my variable. And on the bottom, they already tell you that you're going to mix it with 200 grams of fiber. Okay, and so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross multiply and then divide. Okay, so what I get over here is 3 times x is 3x, and then 2 times 200 equals 400. Okay, so now I have 3x equals 400. And from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 3. That cancels out, divided by 3. And 400 divided by 3 equals 133. And I'm just going to round 0.33. So I need 133.33 grams of matrix. So now that I know how much matrix I need, I could easily figure out how many parts of hardener I need and how many parts of resin that I need. Okay, and so basically the first thing I'm going to do is they tell us that the ratio for the matrix is 25 parts hardener to 100 parts resin. Okay, now if I add 25 parts hardener to 100 parts resin, I think we could all see that that's actually 125 total parts to the mixture. Okay, and so the reason why we need to figure that out now is because we're gonna basically figure out a conversion factor, and the conversion factor is going to help us figure out how much of each material we need. Okay, so if I take the 133.3 grams of matrix that I need, and I divide that by the 125 total parts, I put that in my calculator, and what I get is 1.07. I rounded, okay? 1.07. That 1.07 is a conversion factor, and I'm going to use that to help figure out how much of each part that I need. Okay, and so basically what I'm going to do is, if my ratio is 25 parts hardener to 100 parts resin, I'm going to multiply both of these by 1.07, okay, and when I do the math up here, 25 times 1.7 is 26.75, and when I do the math down here, 100 times 1.07 is 107 grams, okay, and so what it was asking for was the hardener, right? And so it's 26.75 grams of hardener. That's what I need. Okay, so now I could check my work here. Basically what I'm going to do is, if you divide 25 by 100, the ratio that you get here should be the same as when you divide 26 by 107. That's how you know you got the right answer. So if I divide 25 by 100, I end up with 1/4, 0.25. And if I put this in my calculator, 26.75 divided by 107, I also end up with 0.25. Another way you could check your work is, remember we said that, oops, sorry, potential spam. Okay, another way you could check your work is, remember we said we needed 133 grams of matrix total. And actually, I think it was like 133.3, right? Okay, but if you look at what we came up here, 107, and you add that to 26.75, you should get 133.3, or it should be close. It might be a little off because of rounding, and that's not a big deal. I think if you actually do this math here, you add 26.75 to 107, right, you're going to get 133.75, which is a tiny bit off, but don't worry about that. You just want to be in the ballpark. Okay, so if you have any questions, get with me. I would watch the video. If you still don't understand it, watch it again. If you still don't understand it, watch it the third time. And if you're having problems, let me know. Just remember, this is just one question, so don't sweat too much over it. But I think if you guys go through it and work it out a couple times and use those notes that I posted, you'll be fine. All right, good luck. Bye.